This is the last video for 11.2, Operations with Radical Expressions, and it's a real-world example. Let's look at the information we're given. It says the ratio length to width of a painting is approximately equal to the golden ratio, 1 plus the square root of 5 to 2. That's length to width. It's 1 plus the square root of 5 to 2. The length of the painting is 51 inches, so we know the length. Find the exact width of the painting in simplest radical form. That means no decimals. Leave the radicals in your answer, but make sure they're simplified. Then find the approximate width to the nearest inch. So here they want us to use your calculator, put it in there, and get the approximate width using, in this case, whole numbers to the nearest inch. So I have the ratio of length to width. Remember, a ratio is just a comparison of two numbers, and here is my length to width. So I'm going to start by saying my ratio is length to width, so we can keep track of these numbers. And what they gave me was 1 plus the square root of 5 to 2. So there's my length, there's my width. Then they told me the length of the painting is 51 inches, so I know the length. It's 51, but I want to find the width. So what we've done here is we've set up a proportion. Remember, most of the time, when you have 3 pieces of information and you need to find a 4th piece of information, you need to set up a proportion. And then how do you solve proportions? Well, we simply cross-multiply and solve. So I have x times 1 plus the square root of 5. Remember, when you have more than one term, you've got to have those parentheses. So I have x times 1 plus the square root of 5 equals 2 times 51, which is 102. And then to solve, we just need to get x alone. How do you get x alone? In this case, since it's x times 1 plus the square root of 5, all we have to do is divide by 1 plus the square root of 5 on both sides. So that these cancel, and we have x equals 102 divided by 1 plus the square root of 5. But can we leave our answer like this? Well, we have a radical in the denominator that is not allowed. So in order to get rid of that radical, we're simply going to multiply the numerator and the denominator by the conjugate. So I'm going to multiply times 1 minus the square root of 5 divided by 1 minus the square root of 5. Remember, the conjugate just means one's the sum and one's the difference of the same two terms. And then we multiply across. So I have 102 times 1 minus the square root of 5 divided by, now this one's a little different. What we dealt with in the last example were all radicals, but it still follows that same rule. Remember, the rule is that when you have a plus b times a minus b, that it'll always FOIL out to be the first term squared minus the second term squared. So that's the same thing we're going to do here. The first term squared, 1 squared, is simply 1, minus the second term squared, the square root of 5 squared, is simply 5. And so we'll simplify over here by doing, we have 102 times the quantity 1 minus the square root of 5 divided by 1 minus 5 is negative 4. And then we want to go ahead and simplify this fraction, 102 divided by negative 4. That simplifies to be negative 51 times the quantity 1 minus the square root of 5 divided by 2. Now, you can either leave it like this, or you can FOIL out negative 51 to both these numbers and end up with negative 51 times 1, negative 51. Negative 51 times negative square roots of 5 plus 51 square roots of 5 divided by 2. So either one of these answers is okay. I'm going to go ahead and go with this one. It looks a little simpler than this one does. This one just looks there's just too much going on here. This one looks a little simpler. So we got the first part. Find the width of the painting in simplest radical form. Here it is. We're in simplest radical form. The second part is find the approximate width to the nearest inch. That's where your calculator comes in handy. And that's where really this form will be helpful. Because in your calculator, what you're going to put is negative 51. Let me go ahead and do this with you. Negative 51 plus 51 square roots of 5. So 51 second square root of 5. And that gives you some crazy decimal. So x equals something like 63.03946685. We know it keeps going. They just give us part of it, divided by 2. So leave that whole number in your calculator, then just hit divided by 2, and it gives you the number 31.51973343, etc. Well, let's go back up and look at our problem. They wanted us to round to the nearest inch. That means the nearest whole number. So if we're going to round to the whole number, we have to look at the tens place. And what does the 5 tell the 1 to do? We have to round up. So x is 32 inches. So here are your two answers. There's one, and here's your other one. All right, so just as a little recap, we wanted to find the width. We knew the ratio of length to width. We knew the width. We knew the length. We wanted to find the width. So since we had those 3 pieces of information and a ratio being 2 of our pieces of information, we knew we had to use a proportion. So I set it up. Length over width equals length over width. We cross-multiplied to solve. We found out that x was 102 divided by 1 plus the square root of 5. We knew we couldn't leave the radical in the denominator, so we conjugated that expression. We found the conjugate. We rationalized the denominator. We used that rule that a plus b times a minus b is always the first term squared minus the second term squared to end up with 1 minus 5 in the denominator. We simplified to come up with our answer, put it in the calculator to find the approximate answer. Okay, that's it for 11-2.